There we go. Okay, hubby, I can hear the hubby. Hey, hubby.
I'm off now, otherwise I get hit.
You have such a friendly, smiling face. I wish you could be on the show more often. But I'm married and I know who runs the house, so no explaining necessary. Um, all right, good. Hey, Rebecca. So I'll start that over again. Hey, welcome to This Week in Sunlit Earth.
Hey.
This Week in Birding and Nature Photography. I'm so glad that you two are both out in your gardens showing us the beauty behind you. I was going to do that today, except I just didn't do it. And I'm going to do that tomorrow or next week. So welcome to springtime, everybody. And there's Bonnie checking in also. And we're not going to have a guest this week. We're just going to talk about a few interesting things and just have a friendly chat with my good friends. So Alexandra, is this your home and you're in the garden?
It's the conservatory, but the garden this way.
I see.
The garden's that way. You can see. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Look how beautiful. That's
But
awesome.
it's light this week, you see, because you said it starts at 6 and not 7.
So yeah.
Will go dark.
Oh, well, good. Lucky us. We get to see your beautiful conservatory. And hear your wonderful voice. It's always a pleasure. It makes me smile every time I hear your voice, because you're such a loyal follower and you always show up for a broadcast, and I appreciate that. Rebecca, Rebecca was on our Sunlit Earth hike this morning over at the Nature Preserve, and I'm beginning to wonder whether you've chopped up Dwayne into little pieces and have buried him, because he wasn't with you this morning either.
He usually is with me. He wasn't feeling all too great this morning.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, usually he comes.
Okay, well, I'm a little suspicious. I'm just letting you know.
Outside. I will. Maybe he will outside and wave at some point.
I think your internet is a little
wireless is choppy outside.
Yeah, I think it is. But your garden is beautiful, and I love your little patio. And
yeah,
you know, we the wife.
Thank you.
The wife
Here's
and I.
Our little.
Yeah, she's choppy.
You see our fountain?
Yes. Oh yes, very nice.
Yeah, it's not working real well.
Very nice. The wife and I were out walking yesterday, and we walked by a very huge tree that was covered in wisteria, and that's a beautiful purple flower. Alexandra, do they have wisteria in your neck of the world?
Yeah, we've got plenty, but it's a long way off coming out in flower yet. It'll probably be about maybe the end of April, beginning of May, before it'll come out.
Well, let me see if I can show you that photograph. We're just having a nice fun chat this week.
So this pergola that I'm sitting under is wisteria.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually.
That's what reminded me of it.
But it is blooming right now. Can you see the blooms?
Yeah, some of the purple.
May not work.
There's your bus.
There's the bus.
Alexandra, Rebecca and Dwayne have a large bus that they use as a camper. All right, let me see. Today we're going to talk about some behaviors that are going on right now that I want everyone to see. And these may happen in the UK right now also, I don't know. But first I'm going to show you this photograph. Let's see. Yeah, so we had our nature hike this morning, and it was not as eventful as I wanted it to be, but we did have fun, and we had about a dozen people that showed up. Well, I can't see the photograph, but here's a picture of wisteria in bloom, taken by Betsy Arrington. And we live on a really horrible alleyway next to a bar, as you all know, that's also a public bathroom. And walking down that street with our dog, and we looked up and saw this gigantic tree just covered in these blooms of wisteria. And I tell you, it made me feel really good. And it, I'll admit I'm having a little depression right now because of the COVID thing and the face masks. And I had some health issues this past week, so I needed some cheering up, and wisteria was just the trick. So
If you want some wisteria, I'll be glad to give you some clippings of this. This stuff can grow. The variety we have anyway becomes a big jungle
yeah.
on top of this pergola. It's actually pulling the pergola apart, and it can grow, I swear, like 3 feet in a day if it rains. And if
That's
you
awesome.
stand close to it, it'll like wrap around your legs and pull you in and eat you.
And 3 feet, that's a meter for you in the UK. See, I know my metric.
It certainly does grow fast.
It
Kit, is there a way that we can harvest this and put it on top of Friend's Neighborhood Bar? And maybe Friend's Neighborhood Bar can be completely covered in
That's
wisteria.
a great idea.
So
Yeah, that is a good idea.
here's what else is going on in our neck of the woods right now. Spring migration. And this map shows the United States. And of course, I live down in the southeast of that map. And spring migration is in full swing right now. We are seeing weird birds that we don't normally see everywhere. And this migration map is at Birdcast, which is a Cornell University site that tracks bird migration via air traffic control radar, of all things. So it measures certain reflectivity of radar wavelengths and determines that they're birds, and shows you the direction and strength of the migration. So right now they are all the way through the US and they're heading up into Canada for spring migration. And that brings in a lot of really cool birds here. Alexander, do you know if this occurs in your area and when it occurs?
Well, it's definitely started, because today when we went out for our walk, we heard lots of chiffchaffs, and they are the first migrant birds that come into the UK. So we know now that the first ones that they have to, well, most of all our summer migrants live in Africa. So usually in like the south of Africa. So they all have to traverse the whole of the Sahara Desert, which is a huge, it takes a huge death toll on because it's so enormous and they've got to get across it. So these tiny little birds fly across these great big distances across Africa, but they are the first to arrive in the UK. And then they'll be followed by the willow warbler and what other birds have we got? The swallows and house martins will come sort of like mid-April. But certainly to hear the chiffchaffs this week is absolutely fabulous. Beautiful.
I saw on your Facebook page that you took a walk up to Jodrell. I'm probably saying it wrong. Up to the
Jodrell Bank.
Jodrell Bank Observatory, which is, tell us a little bit about that. It's a huge radio telescope.
Yeah, it's great, because obviously at the moment, well, since Christmas, we've been in like a stay-at-home order, so we're not allowed to leave our houses, so we can't travel anywhere. So it's great to be able to just walk to Jodrell Bank, because you just walk across the farmland and you just get there. So it's a great place to go and see. But we were able to hear like all the skylarks and the chiffchaffs. It was just beautiful, really lovely. But yeah, it's one of the largest radio telescopes in the world. And I think it was the first to pick up, like the Russian satellites like Sputnik when they didn't want it. And I think they also intercepted the first Russian picture of the far side of the moon, and actually published it in an English newspaper before the Russians actually even got it. So I think that really annoyed them.
Yeah. And
Got a lot of history.
I'm sharing a photo of Jodrell Bank now, and how fortunate you are, huh, to live within walking distance.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Certainly a fabulous place to go.
Yeah, there's all kinds of history from the space age of Apollo 11 and everything else with Jodrell Bank, and just highlights our friendly relationship with the UK. Ever since we blackened your eye on that revolution thing, it's been good ever since then. So
they still do world-class great research. I think that there at the moment, they have the headquarters for the Square Kilometre Array. So
And do you have a comparable sized radio telescope in your yard?
no.
You know, okay, because I can imagine if you got interested in it, you would, because you do everything right.
It's like no.
No, yeah, my wife won't let me build that yet, but on our new property, perhaps. Rebecca, is your internet working for you? Okay, it's telling
I think it's working a little better
me. Okay.
now.
And Bonnie is with us, and she likes to listen.
Not seem like you-
Hey, there's Bonnie. There's Bonnie. Wait, Bonnie was also on our walk this morning, and she takes our photographs for us. Bonnie and I had
And then
a
you
nice
go inside.
Bonnie and I had a nice sit down after the walk, and just, you know, we're friends. You know, we just sat around and talked. And springtime is bringing lots of new stuff to the United States. It's been a rough week. It's been a rough year for everybody in the world. But I really feel a little bit of a rebirth, or whatever you want to call it, phoenix rising from the ashes going on now. And I'm hoping that everybody can share that. And one great way to share that is to get out in the woods and look at springtime and look at all the animals, which brings up one of my favorite behaviors.
Internet doesn't work well enough out there.
She's still there. Hold on. I'm gonna mute her real quick. Okay. Yeah, one of my favorite behaviors. And we have a bird here called the wood duck. Which, let me get this screen shared. And thanks for joining in, everybody. Didn't really have any format for this week. Just wanted to talk about springtime a little bit. So this is the wood duck. On the left is the female, and on the right is the male. And wood ducks are the ducks that all the hunting decoys are patterned after. And they've been around the Southeast, you know, forever. And for some reason, they're popular to hunt. I don't know why, but I guess people like to eat them or something. But here's some photos through the years of these wood ducks that have been at the Clyde Shepherd Nature Preserve, which is near my house. And that's you know, a nature preserve that I helped run. And these little ducks are just fascinating survivors. The female on the left has now it's on the right, she has a little yellow eye ring around her eye that only shows up on the closest of photographs, which we'll see in a minute. And the little male, they're about half the size of mallard ducks. So they're very small. They're not much larger than, they're about the size of a crow, maybe a small crow. But every morning this time of year at the nature preserve at sunrise, you hear these screaming birds come in, scream, scream, scream. And it's 4 or 5 of these female wood ducks. And the females will come in and they'll just sit in the water and start screaming. And then after a few minutes, the males come in, and the males will accompany the females, and they will go to the nest box. Here's another female. And we have these nest boxes all around the nature preserve, and they're about 4 feet out of the water, about 1.5 meters tall from the water. And they have a hole in them, which is, I'd say, 20 centimeters across. And the ducks, the female ducks, will go up to the box, and they'll kind of bob their head up and down a little bit, look around, they'll shake their tail feathers a little bit. I'll just show you this video. Wait a minute. So they'll do all these cool movements to check the box for predators. And if there's no predator, oops, that's the wrong one. Same one again. Hold on. If there's no predators, then the female will just throw herself into the box. And it's not at all graceful. You can see this is taken at sunrise, and the female is just jumping out of the box now. And hopefully this video is going across. Alexandria, shake your head if you can see this. Okay, so there's a bunch of males out in front of the box and a female, and they will all just kind of hang around this box. And the female will shake her head, and then she'll fan her tail feathers, and then she'll just throw herself into the box like that. And just kind of sit there. And she's looking to see if the squirrels are still in the box, or if there's a snake in there, or any kind of predator. And this box is really beat up and old, because when the pond was dry, that's the male actually, but when the pond was dry, the side of this box just fell out. And see, there's the female on the right. She's checking it out to see if it's okay. And she's trying to get in there, but she couldn't get in there that time. So she just landed on top of the box. There's the male giving her some encouragement. And it's just a really, really peaceful, wonderful thing to watch in the springtime, in the early, early morning. And what's happening here is the female is ready to lay some eggs. And look, there's a little bird on the bottom right of the box just sitting there like, what's going on here? There she is looking in, bobbing the head up and down. Here she is trying to get some more courage. And I get to watch this every morning at sunrise. And so she's looking in the hole. Oh, I think I can make it. Oh, I'm in there. And then she just throws herself in. So it's a long way up. I mean, that's a good 6-7 times her height. I know I could jump that high and fit into a hole. So she gets in there, and every morning she lays one egg for 12 days. And she will not sit on that. She won't sit on the eggs yet, but after the last egg is laid, that's my camera making all that noise. After the last egg is laid, she'll sit in there and start warming the eggs all at the same time so that they hatch at the same time. Let's see if she can make it in there this time. There you go. He's trying. And you know, this is a big deal for a little female wood duck. She's probably never done this before. She's probably trying to figure it all out. You know, it's like a girl in high school, you know, getting asked out for a first date or something. She's like, what am I supposed to do? You know, what do I do? And of course, the males are all just standing around being of no help. Let's see. Just a few more seconds of this video. And you have to be quiet, because if you go up there and you start making noise or moving around, then they all just leave. But there's 4. Here, she's going to try it again. So there's 4 wood duck boxes. Oh, she's coming out now. She just laid her egg, and she's like, how do I get out of here? So she just throws herself out of the box. Yeah, I think that is just really cool, man. And this happens every morning for about 2 weeks until the wood duck has a bunch of eggs in there. She starts sitting on them, and then they all hatch out. Yeah, Rebecca, you've seen that before, I know. At the nature preserve. There he is. He's still alive.
I have not killed him yet.
I will cancel my call to 911 now. Rebecca, have you seen the wood ducks jump in the box out there at the preserve?
I've never seen them go in or out of it.
Well, right now is the time. Yeah, and you have to be there at sunrise to see it. So I'll probably be there in the morning, and maybe we can share that experience
tomorrow morning. I wonder what the weather's going to be. Maybe I'll come down there at sunrise, because I'd like to see them go in and out.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing right now. So it's pretty easy to see, but you're right. They are forecasting thunderstorms. So let's look at a couple more of these wood duck photos.
Oh,
and you can see the yellow eye ring around the wood duck, which I think is just a remarkable thing. And look at the beauty of that animal. You know, why it's evolved these colors is just beyond me. But this is one of those sunlit things about nature that fascinates me. And here's the male being a nuisance to the female, trying to get her to mate some more. You know, he's comes up behind her and chews on her neck and tries to get her to mate. And that's the male on top of the female trying to continue the mating. And I like this picture because he was covered in water. And there they are chasing her around, you know, everybody wants to be the husband, the hubby. And she's like looking at the camera like, you know, what am I supposed to do, man? Yeah, there you go, hubby. And so there they are around the box of Clyde Shepherd. And there's the male. And the female and the male on top of the box. And in the mornings when you go out there, if you see this big splash of water on the hole, that means they've already been trying to get in there that morning. So the male will sit around outside the box until the female's done, and then she'll jump back out and they'll go about their way. But once all the eggs are in there, there's the female hanging out of the box. Once all the eggs are in there, the female will jump back in and just stay all day. So This morning or yesterday morning while I was there by myself, I was scouting out the bird hike so we could have a successful bird hike today. And I watched them go in there, and she jumped in the box, and threw herself in there finally after about 6 tries. And then the box started shaking like this. The box was bouncing around and shaking, and she was in there trying to get an egg out. And it's probably no fun. I've never had an egg myself, but I'm guessing that it's not the greatest experience. Alexander, have you laid an egg before? Are you familiar with? Yeah, me neither. But anyway, the box started shaking back and forth, and then she got up there and she poked her head out. And I wish I had that picture on this computer, but I don't. I'll publish it on Some on Earth in a minute. But she poked her head out and looked around at me like, what am I supposed to do? And she went back into the box, and it started shaking a little bit. And then I didn't see her again, so she stayed in there. So I'm guessing that she's sitting on the eggs. And once they start to hatch, you've probably seen this in videos before, the little birds, that box is this deep. I mean, it's a deep box, and somehow those little ducklings jump up from the bottom of that box and make it through the hole and jump out into the water and start living. And I think that's awesome. Is that what happens in England also? Alexandra, do you have anything like that goes on?
There are just a few ducks, particularly like the goldeneye, but they're more in Scotland, and they nest in holes or in boxes, and you can get lots of little babies. How you were saying that you see a female go in there every day. Have you ever noticed any other females also going in there?
That's a good question.
The goldeneyes up in Scotland, other females will lay their eggs in the same box as other females. So you'll end up with huge numbers of little ones, but they won't all be hers. And you think, how come she's got about 20 little babies? It's because they sort of like keep, it's cunning really, because it means that the female can lay her eggs in there and not actually have to do anything.
Yeah,
so
that's really weird that you say that, because that's one of the reasons I also decided to have this topic today, was because I read that exact thing on the internet about the goldeneye and about how they'll lay all their eggs in one batch and just stick some old lady with them, and they all just take off, and the one mother will raise all the ducklings. That's fascinating. So I have not noticed that, but I will say that when they get into the pond, and Rebecca, you'll see this too if you look, and Bonnie, they do a circular route around the pond, and they generally hit 3 of the 4 boxes, but I've only seen them go into one at a time. And it's so difficult to tell the difference between them when they all get together that I don't know. But that's an excellent question. There's one wood duck box that's hidden behind the weeds that we saw this morning. And I know there's some eggs in there. And then there's a wood duck box that's directly, and these boxes are hard to put up. They're on steel poles, and you have to bury them in concrete, and they're a real pain in the ass to get in there. But it all pays off for this month of the year in March, when you get to see these little dudes. So I want to show you, but I'm going to look into that, Alexander. I may attempt to make some identifying mark, or find some way to identify, or at least tell myself I know which one's which.
You need to do some DNA analysis.
DNA analysis. That's exactly right. That would require my 145 kilo person to get into the water with my wading suit and attempt to walk into the pond, which I tried one time, and I won't try again. I can tell you for now. Because I was buried up to my waist in mud, and almost had to call the emergency services to drag me out. I almost had to call Greenpeace to throw a line like a orca whale stranded on a beach. So I won't be doing that again. So here's some pictures of the ducklings afterwards. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 ducklings here. They almost always have at least 12, if not 13 or 14. And there's another picture of mama, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 12 ducklings in this shot, only 11 in this shot. And that kind of leads into what we're going to talk about here. Look at all these ducklings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 in this shot, and they stay close to mama while they're going across this pond. And the reason why is because everything in the pond eats them. So they're small, and you know, everybody wants to tell that story, but life is life. And these ducks have so many ducklings for that specific reason. If they get 2 to survive, because there's no way this mother duck can take care of 12 ducklings to the point where they can go away. So they would die anyway from starvation. So they have at least 12 so that the 2 or 3 strongest ducklings, the ones that have the instincts to avoid being eaten, are the ones that survive. And then you have evolution working the way it should. So everybody always gets sad when you say, yeah, the beaver or the otter or the great blue heron is going to eat 90% of these ducks. But that's how they weed themselves out and have the strongest to survive. I'm sort of glad they don't do that in human hospitals. Of course, I would have survived, we all know. But, you know, some of us maybe not would have made it. My wife, you know, weighs 100 pounds. So she would have been eaten right off the bat, I like to think. Me, I would have kept going. So that's the behavior that we see right now with wood ducks. And did anyone have any comments? I'm going to look up something else real quick. And then if anyone would like to tell us anything right now, let's see. Okay, barred owls. And these are the questions that I always get asked at every one of these nature hikes. So I thought I would go over them on the show. Let's see. Barred owls. Okay. Hang on. I'm a techno wizard, as we can see. Okay. Share screen. Okay, so barred owls and barn owls and great horned owls all nest over Christmas in North America. And they have their eggs in the box between December and January. And then around March, these fledgling owls jump out of these boxes. You know, they don't actually build nests. They just find a hole somewhere and they drop the egg in there and then they sit on it for a month. And then you get these fledgling owls that come out. And this is a tiny, well, it's not tiny, but this is a baby barred owl kind of hanging out on a tree. And they look like they're almost solid white when they first fledge. And they're checking out the world. This is not the best video, but it gives you an idea of what the owl looks like when it's born. And the reason you see so many owls right now, this time of the year, because we're now at the end of March, is because these babies, this is the adult watching the baby here. She's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. So the babies get out and they start learning how to hunt. The parents watch them for a month and try to teach them what stuff they can eat and what stuff they can't eat. And the babies are all learning how to catch things and how to hunt and how to survive this time of the year. So yesterday, while we were at Clyde Shepherd, I was looking around for birds and this barred owl was right in front of me. I mean, it wasn't 15 feet away at eye level staring right at me. There's another baby barred owl up here who's trying to figure it all out. This is the adult watching them. And that's a clicking noise the bird's making with its throat to let the baby know it's around. My friend Amy Fike is trying to check in. I'll let her in. I think that's Amy. But here's the baby again. So anyway, yeah, there's babies together, kind of messing around. And let's see if, hey, Amy, welcome. So we're looking at barred owl babies from Clyde Shepherd last year, sitting around on branches and talking about why we're seeing so many owls this time of the year. And let me go through a little further in the video. Everybody loves owls. Okay, so I'll stop the screen share now. And everybody, this is my friend Amy. She was on the hike today with us too, and she's a birder from the Nature Store. Amy, we have guests from all over the world on our show, and we do it every week, and we're glad to have you. And we'll ask you some questions, or you can make any comments you like anytime you want. Okay. And so we just got done talking about the wood ducks, and now we're talking about why you see so many owls this time of the year. And it's because the fledglings are just learning how to hunt. And they're all out during the day. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to eat rocks and stuff, turtles. I mean, they're trying to eat tree bark. You know, they're stupid. They're not experienced enough to know what to do yet. So the parents hang out and show them how to do it. I'm trying to find this one photograph that I got of this owl last year trying to eat a turtle about twice the size of its head. And it was pretty funny. But okay, here's one from the nature preserve trying to eat a turtle. And while, you know, there's not very funny if you're the turtle, it's pretty ridiculous because there's no way this owl's going to eat this turtle. So it's just playing around with it, and finally it just drops it on the ground because they don't know what to do yet. Is that showing up? Are you seeing okay, good. So that's the reason you see so many owls this time of the year, because they're all learning how to hunt. So while we did not see the close-up barred owl today on our nature hike, I did see it yesterday, and probably as soon as I go out tomorrow morning, there'll be 3 of them right in front of me with nobody on the hike with me. That's how it usually works out. But Amy, did you enjoy yourself today on the hike, and what kind of things did you remember? You're muted still. This is also a fun part of the show. I clicked the button that says ask her to unmute. You're still muted. Becca, did you see anything that you thought was interesting today? It was kind of a slow hike for animals, I know.
It was, but the pileated or
that's right.
however you pronounce it, were just really great to see. I hear them there a lot and sometimes just get like a little glimpse of them, but that was pretty awesome. Usually I just hear them laughing at me like, haha, you're not going to see me and you're sure not going to get a picture of me. But I don't think I got a good picture because they were a little too far away and obstructed, but it was pretty cool to see them, and I like hearing them. So that was definitely a huge highlight.
Amy, you saw the pileated, the pileated. My father-in-law calls them pileated woodpeckers, and you're muted still. Okay. Do you know sign language? Okay.
How's that?
Hey, now we can hear you.
Better.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So what did you like about the hike this morning? It was kind of slow with birds, but we got together and had fun with each other. That was fun.
I really enjoyed it.
Do you recall the pileated woodpecker? I think she's on the delay also.
I think I am on the way.
Okay, no problem. I hope to see you again on one of our hikes very soon and out at the nature preserve.
Thank you. I'll definitely be out there.
Alexandra, do you know what a pileated woodpecker is?
Only from your photographs.
Okay, well, it's about this tall. And
it's Woody Woodpecker, isn't it?
Yeah, well, actually, Woody Woodpecker was designed based on an acorn woodpecker, but it's very similar. Very similar. Everybody thinks that. Yes, I'll say yes. But it looks just like, and I was telling Amy and Becca today, my usual line about them, like someone grabbed a chicken from a farm and spray painted it black and then stapled a red mohawk on its head and let it loose because it's a gigantic bird. It's the largest woodpecker in North America. And we had one that landed very close to us, and they make this sound, this about this time of the year when they're trying to eat all the ants from the bottom of the trees. And it's very, very fun to watch. They're very goofy looking, silly birds. So we did have that land next to us. And, you know, there was a real strong thunderstorms here yesterday. And I think that kind of changed the weather environment, and the pressure was noticeably higher today. So I think that kind of ran off some of the birds. But we have guests lined up for our next shows. One is John Middleton, who is in North Florida, and he's an excellent shorebird authority and photographer. And we also have Adam Betchwell, hopefully coming back from the Atlanta or the Georgia Audubon to talk about some particular birds. And Amy, we had about 30 minutes of the show before this, but it's usually got a topic, and then we talk stuff, and then we ask everybody what's going on. So it's kind of a slow week this week because we didn't have a guest. I'm the only guest, and you know, everybody's they've all heard me talk so much that no one cares what I have to say anymore. So,
I did watch that part.
oh, you did? Okay, very good.
I saw it. It was great.
Outstanding. So without further ado, unless Alexandra has anything she'd like to add on our show, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Any comments from anyone?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what else was fun today.
Okay. She got the boot.
Eggs.
Wait a minute. Okay, now I can see you again. You got cut off.
You know, I was getting some spam call that came
my
up on
God.
my iPad.
These politicians, man, I tell you, I hate
Sure,
them.
it was about my extended car warranty
Oh,
or,
well, you know.
you know, now they call me from Senior Benefits and want to sell me life insurance.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So what else were we talking
sometimes-
about?
The spotted leopard eggs or the leopard frog eggs.
Yeah, leopard frog eggs, and I was able to pick up a
Frog eggs.
handful of them, and everybody got to touch them and feel them. And yeah, it's cool, man. You know, there's just something about being out there and actually being in touch with it and breathing in the air and hearing the ambient sounds around you. That just is soothing, and it helps relieve stress. And you know, we all know that. We're all grown-ups, and we know the benefits of forest bathing, as they call it in some parts of Europe. And I strongly recommend it. In fact, I can't wait to get out there again. I'm thinking about going out this evening. I have some Celestron night vision cameras. So I'm thinking about going out tonight and trying to film some coyotes at night, because everything in the nature preserve is alive and breeding right now. So it's a great time to be alive, and it's a great time to be out in nature. So hopefully you guys can all join us next week. And I'm going to put you on the spot again as usual, Alexander. And can Darren give us one more wave in?
Am I coming in?
Hello, mate. Mind your head, governor. And and that's it for this week in birding and nature photography. Okay. So we will see you next Saturday. Bye-bye.
Bye.